Hello, hello, hello. Brat, number one in here tonight, girl. You number one. Good evening, PG. Much love. God bless. Prayers, Purple Hearts for Summer, Moon, Utah, Wales. Prayers for Miss Norway. Love and light to everyone in the chat. Hey, girl, number one. All right. And number two, Australia. All right, there we go. Great to see you, PG. Much love. Much love to you, girl. Much love to you. And Jersey, number three. All right. Hi, PG in chat. Hello, hello, hello to you. And Linda says hi. ZPG. Hey, good to see you in here, girl. Much love. All right, number four. There we go. And let me get down through here so I can say howdy. Loretta, how you doing, sweetie? How you doing? Good to see you. Absolutely. Let me see. Hey, there's Maddie. How you doing, sweetie? Good to see you in here tonight. Absolutely. And Lynn, how you doing, sweetie? I'm trying to missing puzzle pieces. Good to see you, girl. Good to see you. Absolutely. All right, I'm getting to the bottom. Vicky, there you are, girl. And that is beautiful, legendary. That is absolutely beautiful. I appreciate that. Bridget says, hello, PG. Good evening. I love hearing your voice for Summer Wells. Much, much love and prayers for Summer. Hey, girl, God bless. I appreciate it. Absolutely. Hey, that's right. Summer's Army. Amen. Let me see if I'm missing anyone. Hey, I appreciate that, Australia. Absolutely. Hit that thumbs up. If you're coming in, hit the thumbs up. It's free and it helps Summer's channel to keep moving forward. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. God bless all that hit that thumbs up button for Summer. Amen. Hey, Grieva Mama, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. I love for almost everyone. Hey, girl. Good to see you in here. I raised in the Boondocks. How you doing tonight? Hey, Hatfield. Good to see you. Vic, there you are, girl. There you are. I'm trying to get as many as I can as I get to the bottom. Hey, Mar, how you doing tonight, sweetie? Wanda, that is beautiful. I appreciate those purple hearts for Summer. Aw, Sally, how you doing, sweetie? How you doing? Good to see you in here. And okay, PG's at the bottom. We're at the bottom, you guys. So God bless. Hey, girl, I love you too. You know it. You know it. All right. Yeah, I actually found a pretty interesting clip, right? On Don Wells admitting that Candus did meet up with Chad Arnold down at Fred's house. You know, he didn't admit like they met up, but he admitted that Candus was down there. And yes, she did see Chad, right? That yes, she did see Chad. You know, good to know. Good to know, Don. We appreciate we appreciate you coming out and telling about it, right? Absolutely. Yeah, hello to Auntie Sherry. God bless. I Didn't see Auntie Sherry. I didn't see her in the chat, but is she in here? I didn't see her, but if she is, hello, hello, hello to Sherry. Um, oh, there was a real thing going on tonight about Auntie Sherry, right? Whoa, it was like Jinkies and that dumpling and who else? Oh, Chewy. Yeah, that's right. All right. And anyway, yeah, they was all I think I don't know if they was all on different lives or if they was all on well, I know Jinkies was on her own. I heard Dumpling was on her own. Um and Chewy, I don't know if she's on her own or she's on Dumpling. Does somebody know? Was was Chewy with Dumpling or Dumpling was Chewy on her own live? I don't even know. I know that Dumpling was on a live, and because she was like, "Wowsy, wowsy, woo woo! I love everybody. Nobody should be making me pick." Type thing, right? Anybody else hear it? I don't know. I mean, that's what I was hearing. That's what I was hearing. Oh, Chewy on her own. Okay, Jinky's still seeing Chill. I don't know. I don't know if she's seeing Chillbilly. She's been talking a lot about her ex. She might be kind of like getting back with her ex. I'm not sure. Device not connected. Maddie, I bring you up. Okay, okay. I think I can bring you up now. Hold on, sweetie. Hold on. How you doing, sweetie?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How about yourself, sweetie?
Yeah, good. What
It's
have you
good.
been up to?
Not a lot. Not a lot. And
That's good.
this is Maddie is Australia. Is Australia's daughter. Such a sweet, beautiful young lady. A sweet, beautiful young lady. So how you been doing, hun?
Yeah, just keeping busy.
Hey, that's the way. Don't have idle time. Idle time is not
Yeah.
good. It's not good. The devil loves idleness. Keep him busy. You don't get in trouble when you keep busy. Right.
Yeah. It's busy. It's cold over here.
Oh yeah, I heard. I heard it's like,
Freezing.
right. You got to almost stand in front of the fireplace or stand on the register,
Yeah,
right?
the air conditioner. The church across the road from me has these beautiful mountains in front of it.
Oh wow, that sounds beautiful.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's beautiful.
Are you guys getting snow or just real cold?
Just the start of the cold weather. It still warms up in the arvo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It gets beautiful around now,
Yeah,
like around 1 o'clock here.
it gets really hot over there, right?
Yeah, it'd be like America though. You'd get hot over there really bad.
Oh yeah. Well, some places do, some places don't. Um,
Yeah,
uh, like in America, if you live north, um, it's the farther north you go, the colder it is. Like the North Pole.
yeah.
Nobody wants to live there.
I've always wanted to go to New York and over to where they play Heartland.
Right. Well, New York does get pretty cold. New York gets
Yeah.
blasted in the winters. Yeah, it can be really cold in New York. Like Florida stays really hot.
How nice!
Arizona stays really hot. California stays really hot. Down south, everything's south.
Wow.
Um, after after you kind of Tennessee gets cold. Tennessee gets
Yeah, I've always wanted to go there. It sounds beautiful.
hmm
You've
um
done a good job with your little channel. A wonderful job.
Hey, I want to tell you. I all credit to God, not
You
PG.
always you always have me cracking up when I go for a nap. Sometimes in the afternoon I go for a nap and I hear you laughing and then I start laughing. When you go off at someone I piss myself laughing. So funny.
I heard that, girl. Yeah.
Your voice is calming though, easy to fall asleep to.
I'm gonna tell you. Sometimes, doing this, doing YouTube, you when you come in, you don't know. You come in with a lot of content, and
Yeah.
you plan, to do this and you do that, but sometimes we get took into we get took into left field, right? And sometimes
Yep.
we take it back, and sometimes we just hang out there for a long
Oh
time.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
You're hilarious. They always have me cracking up.
yeah. A lot of people hit me up on they hit me up on Summer's Facebook, and they're like, PG, you're just so funny. I'm like,
Yeah, well, you've got to be a funny person. I've always had a sense of humor too.
yeah, sometimes I don't feel funny when,
I
sometimes I don't
crack up
feel
all the
funny.
time. I make my friends crack up too.
Right? I'm gonna tell you.
You're doing a good job looking after this little girl, though. Finding everything against it.
We're trying. We're trying.
Yeah,
We're,
poor
we're
little
working
thing.
we're working as hard as we can to get her found, brought home, justice served.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
um there's limitations, you know, there's limitations. I mean,
Yeah,
we've got I don't really think it's law enforcement that's, I don't think they're the stumbling block. I don't think
yeah.
really the court system is a stumbling block. I think it goes higher than that. Um,
It sure would.
because Tennessee just happens to be a state that hates to prosecute. They hate to prosecute without the victim. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, and I think
Over here they do it.
well, yeah, any state can. I mean, any state can prosecute without the victim if
It
they
was
have.
10 years. It was 10 years ago that Madeline McCann went missing.
Right, right.
Yeah,
And her case really hasn't been
been
prosecuted
solved.
yet. I mean, they have suspicion on, like the parents, and they have a lot of suspicion. But I
Not
was looking
enough
at it.
evidence.
Right, I was looking at a case Australia earlier today. Um,
Mm.
it's this guy. They called him. Oh Lord, what did they call that guy? Oh goodness, I should remember because I was just reading about it. Um,
There's so many cold
that
cases here.
I think it was like the creeper or
Oh,
um
yeah.
something like that. Anyway, he wore a mask. He like wore this mask, and I guess he
Wow.
was, um, going after children. And
Yeah.
some of the children he let loose, and some of them he, was on living. It was
Mm.
really, and I guess, like
Well, in
just
Australia now, anyone that does stuff to kids gets thrown in the slammer for life, I think, without parole.
right.
They've, they've
I'm
just added a new rule to it.
right. I don't know if your mom ever heard of the case or not, but it was,
I've heard something similar.
yeah.
Probably an old one.
He wore this mask. I guess the mask had like zippers on it or something. It was
Oh,
really
wow.
freaky. Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
freaky. But he finally stopped. He stopped. This was like back
Oh,
in the 80s or something. But he finally stopped with the 13-year-old girl. It stopped, and no one's
yeah.
really heard anything after that. Um, and there was, I guess, this one guy's daughter came out and was like, tried to say it was her dad. And after he had got remarried to somebody. It quit. That she felt that it was her dad. I don't know. I don't know if it was or it
Wow.
wasn't. But um, but she felt that it was because
That's insane.
with the 13-year-old girl, um,
Mm.
with the 13-year-old child, the last one there is about the
Yeah.
same time he got married, and that's the same time everything quit. So I don't
Mm.
know, like kind of like George Jones, right?
The
Kind of like,
saddest case I heard of,
yeah, I don't. It was in Australia. It was definitely in Australia. Um,
Mum said, is it like the man that killed the little girl or something?
he actually, he actually
Yeah.
did. It was three of them. There was three. He had three victims.
It
One of
sounds
the
familiar to me.
one of the little girls was come from a very well-to-do family. A very well-to-do. Matter of fact, they still have like I think it's like um, uh, I think it's a lot of money. There's a lot of money.
What about the Daniel
I
Morecambe
think
case?
I
That
think
was
the
very
reward
sad.
I think the reward is like $100,000. That's
Wow.
the reward is like $100,000 over there,
Wow.
from what I'm
What
hearing.
did you hear about Daniel Morecambe?
No,
He was a little boy that got kidnapped from a bus stop around the age of 12. He
right,
was he was waiting for a bus and they let this predator out. He was on parole and he should have been locked up for another victim. He committed a crime to another little boy.
right.
Anyway, if he was locked up and never
It wouldn't have happened, right? And
uh,
that happens all over the world. It happens all
yeah,
over the world. You
they
know,
failed the system.
right, right, because you'd be surprised at how many times you hear that this person should have been behind bars, or they just and they just barely let them out, paroled them or something, and
Yeah,
they go right back in. And I would think, okay, your first offense, maybe we can parole you, but if you come
yeah,
back, then it should be for life. I don't care what
yeah,
crime you commit. If you return a second time, it should be life. You're just wrote off. Um,
yeah.
because at that point you're showing that you didn't deserve parole to begin with, and there's no reason letting you back out anymore.
For more people to suffer. Anyway, sweetie, I've got to hop off. I've got to call a friend.
All right, girl.
But it
Well,
was
it was
nice
good
to
to
meet
have you
you.
up here. Absolutely. It was
And
wonderful
God
having
bless
you
to
up here.
you.
Hey, much love,
You and
girl.
your
Much
channel.
love.
See you.
See you, sweetie.
Bye.
Bye bye. She is a sweetheart. She is an absolute sweetheart. Oh, yes, absolutely. Welcome to Summer's channel, sweetie. All right. I was going to. Oh yeah, I was telling you guys about um the do tell tonight, all about Sherry. Anyway, they really went at it, right? You had them all going at it, like one's on their channel, you know. I'm going to tell you, Jinky, she tells all, right? She tells all, no holdbacks, all right? No holdback. And anyway, I guess from what I'm hearing is um Chewy got mixed up with someone. I don't know her name, but anyway, Chewy got mixed up with someone in, you know, in selling, actually taking old people to the cleaners. I heard. I don't know. I mean, That's what I'm hearing. That's what I hear through the grapevine. That they were selling these um, fake pocketbooks to some old people, trying to act like they were genuine and authentic, and they were charging big monies. And I guess they sold Sherry a picture that wasn't worth 2 cents, but they sold it like they got $500 or something out of Sherry. And yeah, it was wow, for real. And anyway, that's what it was all about. That's what it was all about. And Jinky said she didn't feel it was right. I'm not. I don't know if she did or she didn't. I mean, how do I know what she'd be thinking? But anyway, I mean, I ain't got no ESP or anything like that, you guys. But I mean, I got my suspicions. I got my suspicions on what she was thinking. But she said she was thinking it was wrong. For some reason, I just don't agree with that, right? But you know, and then she was saying that Chewy was a nobody, um, and used her to start a channel, right? That used her to start a channel, and she was a nobody. Well, I think Chewy's still a nobody, if you ask me, right? I think she's still a nobody. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't got no reason to lie. I think she's still a nobody. To be honest with you, I mean, just saying, you know, yeah, I really think she's a nobody anyway. I didn't ever overly like Chewy. I haven't ever overly liked her. And I tell you why. Because she attacked us, well, me, um, constantly for no reason whatsoever. She was always coming sideways at PG. And not only that, but that ain't, that ain't the only reason that I well actually okay, let me put it this way. I didn't care if she wanted to come sideways, because when people come sideways, I consider it a source and move on. So that really didn't bother me. I didn't care about any of that. What I did care about, what I did care about is her and her old man um was was on a live, and they were laughing and they were talking. I don't know if you guys heard this or you didn't hear it, but you can put a one in the chat if you did. They were on a live talking about how they used to, crap in a pocketbook, and then put it across the road from a restaurant, and they would look out the window and watch someone pick it up, and they would get a real kick out of crapping in that pocketbook. Um, yeah. And then they would also, um, have people would come in the restaurant, and they would slip, those chocolate laxatives in, in these, in these buddies' drinks. These supposed to be their friends. And they would literally slip, laxatives in there. Yeah, and they were laughing. They were cracking up about how they used to put, and they said they did this one guy, and then they tried to hold him there and hold him there and hold him there, and they knew that he was wanting to leave because that laxative had kicked in, but they would put it in his hot chocolate. They would, in their hot chocolate, their coffee, whatever. Um, I don't know, but they would slip this in on people. And I don't like anyone. I do not like anyone, and I don't want no one around me that, is sinister enough to put anything in someone's drink or food or whatever. If you are sinister enough to do something like that, I want nothing to do with you. That shit ain't funny to me. Because if someone is allergic to this, it can land them in a hospital or maybe even unlive them. I mean, that's just not funny. Nothing funny about it to me. They wouldn't want no one doing it to them. They shouldn't do it to anyone else, right? They wouldn't think it was funny if someone stuck something in their hot chocolate, right? Wouldn't be funny no more. Um, so, I just don't want people. And if you stick one thing in somebody's stuff, you may stick anything in there. I don't know. I don't trust you. I don't trust you. Just stay away from me altogether. I want nothing to do with you. You're evil. You're mother freaking evil, man. I'm going to tell you something. If I fix anyone anything to eat or drink, you better believe I can eat and drink it myself. Straight up. I do not, I pride myself on not doing anything to anyone. I make sure everything's clean. I make sure the food is cooked right. I don't care. My worst enemy could sit at my table and be safe. I would not do anything to them whatsoever at all. And I'm going to tell you something. God's always watching you. You better remember that. But just say for instance, there was no heaven and there was no hell. I still wouldn't do it. I still would not do it because I don't want to do something like that to another human being. I don't care how much I like them or dislike them. I would not do it. That's just, that's coward. That's cowardly. And I'm not a damn coward. If I got beef with you, then, I'll be in your face. I won't be behind your back. I won't be doing shit behind your back. I'll be right in your face, toe to toe. I'm not a coward and I'm not, I just would not do it. And that's my beef. That's my beef with her. I don't like anyone that does stuff like that. So, I haven't really ever, messed with that lady whatsoever. Nothing to do with her. It just is what it is. And the other girl, Dumpling or whatever her name is, I don't even know her. I see her. She seems to always play the victim. I don't know. I don't know how true it is. But I heard that that she went out with oh shoot, Dolly. I heard that her and Dolly got together. Her and Dolly, I guess it was kind of get it and gone with Dolly. It was kind of get it and gone. He didn't really want it, I guess. But ain't she married? Isn't she married or something? I mean, how are you going to get it and gone with somebody that's married? I don't know. But that's what I heard. I don't know if it's true, untrue. That's just, through the grapevine, I was hearing this. I have no idea. That's what I heard. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that's what I heard. Could not be true. I don't know. But I heard she was kicking it with Dolly. And, yeah, she was married. Oh my God. I don't know. I heard it. Yeah, Janet, I heard it too. Hey, if you're going to do tell, right? I mean, why do I care if I do tell? I mean, these people don't hold no shit back on PG, right? They be talking all kinds of shit when it comes to me. So, I don't even care. Oh, yeah, I love Dolly. Absolutely. But, I don't, like I said, I don't know that Dumpling lady. I do know some reason she don't like PG. I know there's some reason she don't like me. Obviously, I don't know what that is. But, probably because she hangs with that garbage, that mother freaking garbage that likes to put shitting people's food and hangs with, a trash like that. that old lady, what's her name, Anne, the one that mother freaking has gotten, you know, um, uses her roof and uses uh, all this stuff to take people to the cleaners all the time. Yeah, you got a lot of freeloaders out here. Freddie fucking Freeloader is running rampant out here in the YouTube community. Just saying, just saying, you know. But I don't care because, like I said, I you know I'm going to tell the truth. You want to hear the truth? Come to PG's channel. You'll hear the truth, right? You'll hear it for free. You can hear it for free. Although maybe I should start selling it. Maybe I should start selling it for a couple bucks. The do tell, a couple bucks, and I do tell these little secrets. Going all over the place because I be hearing some real good shit through the grapevine. Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. Um, taking a bunch of women to the cleaners for $2 pictures and fake ass pocketbooks. I'm going to tell you something. I'm It's up to we the people. It's up to we the people to not tolerate this stuff. What I'm trying to say is, I'm going to tell you, when you allow people to do this to other folks, well, they'll end up doing it to you. They'll end up at some time doing it to you. Someone will do it to you. It's up to all of us to stick together with God and not let these people be doing this kind of stuff. I mean, if they could still feel accepted in your community after doing such evilness, well, you're not the solution, you're the problem. You should not make people, feel welcomed in your community that do evil. They shouldn't feel welcome. Evilness should not ever be welcomed anywhere around you. The matter of fact, the Bible tells you to stay away from evilness. It plainly states, you know, um, Psalms 1. Read it. Read Psalms 1. It plainly tells you stay away from, evilness. Here you go. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doeth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. There you go. Psalms 1, King James. Read it. You don't go around evilness. You just don't go around it. You don't stand around with it. You don't sit around with it. You don't have nothing to do with it. That's what the Bible tells you. Listen to what God tells you, and you'll live a lot better life, right? You got to stand against that stuff, not with it. That's common sense. But yeah, those folks are evil. Those folks are evil. And I tell you, they don't like righteousness. They don't like righteousness. That's why they don't like PG. And you know what? When people like that don't like me, it makes me understand I'm doing everything right. I look up and say, thank you, Lord. Right? Thank you. When haters, evil people don't like PG, I say, thank you, Lord, because I know I'm doing something right. All right. That's how I know. That's how I know if I'm being good or not. Right? They like me. If they like me, I have to go check myself, see what the hell's going on. What's going on, PG? Right? What's the matter? You must not be being good. These evil people start to like you. That would get me worried. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, men are trouble. Men are trouble. Trust and believe that. I know. I know. I got one. I got one right now. He's upset. He's upset because he's got a dog and I don't. Right? That thing chewing up everything in his house. That's better his house than mine, right? I tell you. I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know. I thought it was quite, hilarious to see all these women jumping on their panels, right? Going at one another and trying to, convince everybody of their innocence. I'm like, yeah, right. Okay. Hmm. You just took a you just took a bunch of people to the cleaners with some fake purses and a $2 picture. Come on. I ain't gonna say I don't get the amusement out of it because I do. I get the amusement out of it. You gotta have to call the bank and dispute that transaction, right? You gotta call the bank and dispute that transaction. They supposed to give they supposed to give me some real shit, man, and they did, and they gave me some fake stuff. That's some funny stuff right there, right? You got all these little ladies, all these little old ladies making phone calls. I'm gonna tell you something. Somebody's gonna go to jail, right? Somebody's ass gonna go to jail. You ain't allowed. You ain't allowed to be taking old people to the cleaners with fake pocketbooks and $2 pictures. I mean, that is freaking mean. That's weird, right? I mean, how did these people do this stuff? I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't think I want to know. Right? Oh shoot. Fake persons with best friends, right? Oh shoot. Yeah. Louie, 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 Louie. All right. Time to pull out the Louie Louie song. Oh shoot. I'm gonna start selling my chewing gum after I chew it. Hey girl, you might find somebody to buy it too. You might find somebody that'll buy it. I'm gonna tell you. I mean, I was listening to this story today. I was listening to a story today. I don't catch a lot of TV. I don't catch a whole lot of TV. But sometimes I get to tune in, right? Like when I'm eating lunch, sometimes I can catch a few, minutes of the TV, something my kids are watching. Um, or I can, during dinner time, I might catch a few minutes here and there of something. It's got to be, and it's a few minutes too. I don't hardly ever catch it all. But I did see where this lady today, she was talking about this woman that went on to I guess it was a park playground. It was a park playground. She takes her kid to this park playground. And anyway, I guess, this little kid that has some type of special needs or something, um, touched or grabbed her kids, some of her kids' toys or something. I don't know what exactly the special kid needs child done. But I guess this mother went off on the child. And then when this man confronted her about, you know, um, what she was saying to this child or whatever, she definitely was not afraid, right? She definitely was not afraid at all because she's, giving him the bird and she's doing, all this la stuff to him and really was being, she seemed to be the predator, if you ask me, against the child, and then the man that wanted to, try to make her feel bad, um, attacking a child like that because the child didn't know no better. But anyway, she gets up a GoFundMe asking people, I guess, to, you know, how she's scared and, and help her and have a better life with her child. And I guess she got like over $500,000. Yeah. After being the aggressor, the whole thing. But, you know, just goes figure. So somebody might buy that chewed up chewing gum. tell them that tell them you're selling it to make your life better, right? They'll probably be, you know, get a GoFundMe up. I need to get rid of this chewed up chewing gum because I need my life to be better. You probably make a lot of money. I don't know, right? I mean, wow. Some stuff amazes me. I mean, somebody started out with a paperclip one time, right? They started out with a paperclip and ended up with a house. And so they were trading. They traded the paperclip for something. They traded the something for something else. And I mean, and before you knew it, they had a house. So, you know, anything's possible. Anything's possible, man. Especially in today's world with this box we're all talking through. You'd be amazed what you could do. Oh, Lord. I'm going to tell you what. I think that freaking talk to text. I think those people mess with you. I think they some real people on the other end of that, right? 'Cause when I use it, some of the stuff it says, I'm like, what? It wasn't even close to what I was saying. It's like somebody else just put what they wanted to say, and that wasn't okay. That wasn't okay at all. Ooh, that's disgusting. I don't know about that. Have you guys seen? Have you guys seen on TikTok the challenge things that they have the challenges? I'm gonna tell you that is funny right there. That is funny stuff, and they get paid to challenge one another. Um, you know, that's some funny stuff. Wow. Your son did good, Raven Rose. Your son did good. Right? Yeah, battling. They was battling. Text mom and said. Right? That's funny. Beautiful sunflower. That is hilarious. I'm getting amused right now with Hatfield. Oh, you're amazing, PG. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Right? I was waiting. I'm sitting here waiting for Hatfield to give me the next text there. Let's find Summer. I think we've already found her. We just got to get law enforcement out there with some shovels. Start digging. Right? That's what we got to do. Andy B. Oh, why you not answer my question last night? I see you in the bushes. Right? You know Andy's in the bushes. But anyway, I wanted to let you guys hear where Don Wells himself, said that yes, Candace did meet up with Chad.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, it's right there.
right.
Don, do you know
Oh,
who a Chad Arnold is?
yes, I do.
And so, somebody asked me, said,
Yeah,
Ken,
Chad Arnold was
He
married
died.
to. No, he didn't die.
I thought he died.
Not that I'm aware of, anyway. But Chad Arnold was at Fred Hill's house when when Candace was looking for Summer. She drove back in the holler to Fred Hill's house, and Chad Arnold was hanging out back there.
Hmm.
I've been to Chad Arnold's house before, and he had all kinds of people hanging out in his
was he a
shed.
cracky?
Is he what?
Was he like a meth head like Fred Hill?
Yes, yes. Chad Arnold loves his meth. Yes, he does. I went to visit him. Chad Arnold trains horses and stuff. He's really good at that. But he loves his methamphetamines.
Ain't Don Wells one to talk? Isn't Don Wells one to talk when he loves his illegal substances too, right? I mean, I think we all witnessed him not only in the bathroom, but also another time sitting in a chair, right? And after he did himself, it looked like he did Candace. Come on, Donald. You sure got the nerve to be talking about someone else. Wow.
That's
Is he a offender or anything? Is he on the registry?
Not that I'm aware of.
Because I did see quite a few around there whenever I looked. I pulled it up, you know.
I went to his wife's house and visited with Chad Arnold a few times for various reasons, trying to get truck parts or whatever. And yeah, he's definitely he's definitely showed me some big pieces of yeah. He's definitely into that stuff.
Did
His,
Fred Hill act like he had something like schizophrenia or something?
yeah, he has meth-induced schizophrenia.
I was
Yes,
gonna
Yeah, I
say
heard of that
I've
part.
heard that. I have too. Yeah, it's almost like psychosis from meth. It causes a
yep,
psychosis and a
Well, if
exactly.
somebody's already predisposed to getting
disposed.
it, it
Yeah,
actually
causing it to
pushes it
set off.
along. Some people
Yeah.
can have it their whole life and not get the side effects from it, but the drugs can push it to it.
That's
Yeah, I've
right.
seen a difference in people because some people don't act the same on that stuff. You know, you can see some people now like they completely lost their daggone mind. Like, I mean, like
Do
in
you
another
think
whole
Chad
fellow
Cotton and
universe.
Fred took some, or somebody just asked me that question?
I have no clue. But it's just like Dudley. That day, that weekend, I guess he went and done dope all weekend. He showed up Monday. And I guess I
Hey,
fired him
Robin,
Monday or Tuesday. I don't remember.
broke one wing.
I can't deal with that stuff. He said I ripped him off for money and everything else.
I fired him Monday or Tuesday. Don Wells, you fired him on Monday. Your daughter came missing Tuesday. You don't even remember when your daughter came up missing? She came up missing on Tuesday, and you fired Dudley Monday in order to blame it on. Matter of fact, you started driving a different vehicle on Monday and Tuesday to cover your backside. Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, why doesn't people ask Don Wells, why did you change up your vehicle, Don Wells? Why did you change up the vehicle? Something you didn't ever do. Why did you change the vehicle up uh, on on the 14th and fire your coworker Dudley on the 14th to blame it on? And what happened, to blame what happened on the 15th onto him. Why did you do that? Why doesn't anyone ever ask Don Wells the hard questions? I don't know. I don't know. I think they're afraid to. I think they're afraid to ask him. I'm asking. Hey, Candus, when you do another live riding down the road, Donald, why don't you explain? Why don't you explain why you started driving that other vehicle for only 2 days? 2 days. Why you fired your coworker, and then the next day so you would have Starlink. And when you explain that, why don't you explain why Andy across the street over there, you remember Andy, your bestest buddy over there? Why don't you, that you was partying with down on the road on the 14th, that night of the 14th, remember? Why don't you ask, why don't you tell us why he was also driving the different vehicle with GPS and covering his ass too that day? Because you both were at work. Yeah, you was at work. You were both hiding. You were both hiding. So what the hell was the deal? What was the deal? Because you guys wasn't hiding on the 14th. You were all up in there on the 14th, jumping on Mr. Dobbs, going looking for him and everything else. What's up with the 15th though? When you both were driving vehicles for the freaking GPS and the Starlink for the extra protection other than your phones. Why don't you explain that? Because everybody would like to know. Everybody would like to know.
He's lying.
Oh yeah, well he lied too on that interview. Whenever
Yes,
he tried
ma'am.
to act like he was such a good, upstanding guy,
And,
you know.
and we've seen that, everybody that has been mentioned has went down for
Yep.
some
Yes, sir.
crazy shit.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So
Yes, sir.
sort of
And
what
I'm not,
everybody is talking
and I'm
about.
not, and I'm not claiming I'm an angel, because I'm not.
None of us are.
No,
I'm not.
no, I mean nobody is
We
saying
all
that
fall
you
short.
are. I mean,
No, I just want to make that clear with y'all. I'm no angel.
You sure in the hell ain't. You sure ain't, Don Wells. We heard the 911 call yesterday. Help. Mommy. Mom, help. Somebody, anybody, help. Who was your daughter's aggressor, Domwell? You. You was the aggressor. You was the one your daughter was afraid of and she was screaming because of. Man, I can't believe people even let this mother freaker talk.
I'm trying. I'm
None of
I'm
us are,
really
dog.
I'm trying, but it's so hard.
Trust me, we all fall short.
He ain't trying shit. Do you hear him? I'm trying. I'm trying. You know, this dude, man, I'm going to tell you, he's as fake as those mother freaking purses they were selling out, right? Those pocketbooks. He's as fake as those pocketbooks that just went out to a bunch of people. Come on.
I
And as sorry and worthless as that damn picture.
showed my ass yesterday. I ain't even gonna lie. I did.
He's
Mom,
hiding
how do
right
you feel
now.
about Andy and Jody Sue?
I don't
How do you
think
feel about Andy?
I don't think Andy had anything to do with anything, but I will say that Jody Sue's the biggest nutcase I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, why didn't she like y'all living there, or why didn't she want people to sell the property around there?
We've done everything we could to help Jody Sue. Even my private investigators went up and moved all her crap for her. Drove up that steep ass hill with his 4-wheel drive and moved all his stuff out of there. She tried to give us some a cigarette machine and some other stuff, and we was like, no, that's not right. That's your husband's probably or whatever. We don't want it. And she was just trying to be mean to Andy or whatever way. But our private investigators moved her crap for her out of the kindness of their hearts. Candus went up there and helped her out of the kindness of her heart and everything else. And we barely know her, and why she turned on us and said all this crazy stuff is beyond us. Other than trying to start her own YouTube channel or whatever, I don't,
Maybe get back at her husband and just y'all
yeah.
were just the side effect of it.
All these haters just come out the woodwork like cockroaches. It's
Is it
crazy.
how about that other guy? What was his name? That he's a real bad dude. The one that got in
Oh,
trouble for
Don Sherfy.
yeah, that Sherfy go because wasn't he friend
Yeah,
with Brandon Lawson too?
yeah. I don't know. I don't know them people. All I know is Don Sherfy Senior got with my stepdad's sister and had something going with her that I'm not aware of whatsoever, and why he turned on us, or why Mary, my stepdad's sister Mary, turned on us. I have no clue. I know my mother, when she was alive, told Mary that she was going to get the property, the property that we have now, and my mother told me that that Mary and her husband Cecil and all them worked for her hourly, and she led them along, and they thought they was going to get the property, and they was really just kind of. My mom said they were basically con artists, and she turned the property over to me, and that really pissed them off.
That's a lie. His mother did not turn the property over to him. His mother turned the property over to a friend of hers, and Don Wells kept going at the woman and at the woman and at the woman until the woman turned it over to Don Wells. So that's not true.
Mm.
But I don't know the whole story. That's between my mother and them, and my mother's deceased now.
Yeah.
So I don't know the full
When people
story
pass away, all kind of stuff goes on like that in families.
exactly. And, my mother had a court battle with the Hills, which would have been Jody Sue's or Andy's kin. They had a court battle over a piece of property across the street over there, right across from their house. And then the people bought that property in the back and just took over the property that they had to dispute over, and they couldn't do nothing about it.
Now,
Right.
now, a minute ago, Don, you mentioned Bellaton. Um,
Yeah,
the Bernard
yeah,
feller.
If you have a piece of property attached to your property that is unkept, and you keep it up for a number of years, you can claim it. You can claim it. And no, there isn't nothing anyone can do because they abandoned it and you were the one that was upkeeping it um, for a long, long time. And yes, you can just fence it in and add it to your property because, you know, they wasn't taking care of it.
Do you know if he's any kin to any of the Bernards in the Bellaton area?
I have no clue, brother. Andy Bernard seemed to be pretty up and up to me. Um, we bought weed from him from time to time. He'd come up and says, "Man, I got some good weed, whatever," and we'd buy weed from him from time to time. And he was Andy Bernard has always been pretty straight up with us, and has never really caused us any problems or anything. So I really can't say anything bad about Andy at all because he's never.
Tom Wells, you need to shut up because you told me you was going over there to Andy's house to this guy's place across from you over there. And you said you didn't really know him, but you thought that guy had something to do with Summer's disappearance. You said you were going to go up over there because you felt that this dude has something to do with your daughter's disappearance and that his wife he was getting ready to get rid of his old lady. You said that he didn't want her no more. He found something else, and that he told her that he would do all kinds of stuff to her if she just didn't get the hell away and get gone. And you thought it was funny that he threatened her up like he did with her mental capacity. That's what he was talking about. Don was talking about the mental capacity of this guy's wife. And how this guy's going to take the kids and everything if she just didn't back off away from him and so on. This is what Don said that this guy was threatening his old lady up with, and Don thought it was pretty funny. He thought it was very funny that that this woman was backing off and letting this guy go. But he said this guy he believed had something to do with his daughter's disappearance, and he was going to go confront him. And that was Andy. That was Andy and Jody Sue you were talking about, and you knew both of them, and you knew them damn well. I mean, it wasn't no, acquaintances. You guys were all friends. You were down there partying the night before Summer went missing. I mean, what the hell, right? What the hell? Um, you're such a liar. You guys are all liars, Don Wells. You can sit there and say what you want about Jody Sue. Yes, she is a liar, but you're a liar too. And Andy's a liar. And why are you sucking up to Andy? Why are you sucking all up to Andy? Oh, I'm going to tell you why. Because Jody Sue said, you go ask him what he was selling to them children, what he was selling to Candus for them children, not just Summer, but other little girls to be touched. And it wasn't a goody good. You asked him what it was besides the goody good. So there you go, Don Wells. Is that why you're being nice to Andy? Because, he knows all your dirty, dark secrets, what was going on over there on that hill. I think he did. I think he did. That's my opinion.
Never done us wrong. But his wife,
Was more the problem.
yeah, yeah. But Andy's never done us wrong. I just
No, Andy didn't ever do you right. He didn't ever do you right. Because you know what, Don Wells, you wouldn't be in the predicament you're in right now if Andy'd have done what was righteous. If Andy'd have said, what the hell you talking about, dude? I ain't giving you nothing to be sedating no children with. You ain't supposed to be sedating children. Matter of fact, I think me and my old lady's going to report this to law enforcement and get those children put in a safe home, a safe place away from sick people like you. Oh, hell yeah. And he should have reported it, and he should have got those children taken away. And you know what? You and Candus, yeah, right now you still have no children, but you know what? All 4 of those children would have been safe and they would have been alive, including little Summer, right? He didn't do you right. He did you wrong. And he did Summer wrong too. He did Summer wrong. A 5-year-old innocent little girl. He done her wrong. And he done every other child wrong that got some of that stuff to be sedated with. And that's Jody Sue's words, not PG's. Jody Sue said that those kids were being sedated by Candus with stuff Andy was producing. There you go. That's, that's Jody Sue's words, not PG's.
Just hope and pray for his kids, that they turn out okay and everything. But Jody Sue Brown, she's lied on us continually.
Yeah, how old's her boy? How old's her oldest son?
I
Doc,
don't
can I ask you
know.
a question?
They ain't nothing Jody Sue Brown could say about you and Candus that ain't true, Don Wells. Nothing she could say about you guys that is not true. I don't care how evil it is. How evil it is, it would still be the truth when it comes to you and Candus. That's my opinion. That is my opinion. I'll keep it. I don't think anybody could say anything about you all that isn't true unless they're saying something nice. And then that's probably not true.
Did they rule her out as a suspect?
They haven't ruled anybody out as a suspect. That's a straight, that's a straight lie right there. I mean, if she was at the bottom of the hill, when Summer come up missing like she claims, why would they rule her out as a suspect?
And didn't Andy have a
Because she heard your old lady screaming up your daughter's name, and she didn't know what was really going on, but she went to see and joined in the search. That's the second time Candus came out of Ben Hill Road when she met up with Jody Sue. That, Don Wells, was after 6 o'clock. That was after 6 o'clock, and Jody Sue was down there to meet up with Andy to go get something to eat. So, with that being said, Don Wells, she had every right to be down there catching your old lady the second time she comes out like she's looking for Summer. How about the first time she came out and went down and met up with Chad Arnold? Let's talk about that. Oh, wow. Hey, CJ, I appreciate it, girl. I appreciate that. Member for 28 months. All right. For Summer Wells. From the love. Hey, girl, God bless. I appreciate it. Absolutely. Absolutely, Janet. Carrie, I appreciate that. Appreciate it. Amen. Missing puzzle pieces. That is hilarious. That's funny.
alibi for about being 45 minutes away?
Yes,
an hour
ma'am.
away? And
Yes,
she
ma'am.
said that she was
Yeah.
waiting on Andy to get home, but she and planning her wildfire.
Well, Andy,
She said, "Geez."
TBI told me that Andy was at work. He's got definitely a rock solid alibi.
You bet your ass he does, because you and him was down there the night before, all of y'all down partying on the road, making sure you have rock solid alibis for the next day, right? That's why you both changed up vehicles that had GPS and Starlink to go along with your phones. So you would be solid alibis. Absolutely. You think law enforcement don't mother freaking know this? They're smart enough to put two and two together, and the feds are brilliant. They definitely already put it together, Don Wells. They're just waiting. They're just waiting. They're biding their time.
At the time of Summer's disappearance.
Yeah.
So then why would she
But
say that?
She
You know?
said that she was waiting on Andy.
Well, that may be, but Andy did
But
show
Andy
up
had an alibi to
later
be
on.
about 45 minutes an hour away.
Yeah, he was at
And then
work.
she said she was planting her wildflowers.
Definitely,
That's
Joe.
sus to me, I ain't gonna lie.
Definitely, Jody Sue has no alibis, but her husband Andy definitely does.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. No, Jody Sue don't have no alibis, but neither does Candus and Grandis, right, Don Wells? And then you said, oh, when Jody Sue heard that scream, my neighbor heard a scream. And that's when she heard the scream, Candace must have been in the house. Well, Grandis wasn't, was she, Don Wells? But you didn't want to talk about how Grandis had that ass sitting right there in the door of the camper with her big eyes, better to see you with, her big ears, better to hear you with, her big nose, better to get in your business with, right? Sticking your backside. Yeah. Why don't we talk about them, Don Wells? Quit talking about everybody else to keep the focus off of you. Let's talk about you and Grandis and Candace, okay? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how Grandis used her leg to go into Kingsport to pick up Hunter to go to the swimming hole. And that's why your daughter's on the milk jugs. Okay? All staged up on the milk jugs. Right? Then you get home, take a video, this video, close to home, right? And so that law enforcement, you could show this video close to home. So they wouldn't think nothing about what happened at the swimming hole, which they already have. That's why Ronnie Lawson said, asked you, Don Wells, why you guys waited 4 hours to call in law enforcement? Why don't you answer that tomorrow when Candace decides to turn on her freaking live and go down the road? Why don't we go down the road talking about your daughter and talking about you and talking about Candace and talking about Grandis, and let's talk about Summer, okay? Let's do that little thing. And stop talking about everything else. And screw your song about you guys got little secrets that you're going to tell songs on the radio, right? You and Candace love to use music to express your fucking bullshit, to play your games, to express your feelings. You guys are weird. You're weird. That's all I got to say. Nobody uses music to express themselves anymore. Just saying, they don't do it. They don't do it. Right? They might use it as comedy, but they don't use it like you guys do. Yeah. Like this dude, let me tell you something. This guy right here, he plays music to people. Don't you, Donald? You play music. He played music to PG. He straight up played music to me. They're fucking weird. They're weird. For real. I mean, like, what the fuck? Next time somebody I don't like knocking on my door, I'm gonna fucking turn up. I'm gonna turn up the mother freaking speakers playing. This is my house, right? My house from New Breed. All right. What the fuck? Then I'm gonna open my fucking camera up and be like, you hear this, bitches? I don't like you. Do you hear my music? I'm expressing myself to you. What the hell? Yeah, I'm fucking weird. Okay, get out of here. All right. I wonder how that'd go over. Probably. I bet you 10 to 1, 5 minutes later, I'm going to see some people come up my sidewalk with them mother freaking, one of those uh, jackets that hug you real good, right? I get to hug myself. I'm going to get to hug myself and hang around in a padded cell. Wow. My lifelong dream. My lifelong dream. Hugging myself in a padded cell. Right.
He was at work at the time of Summer's disappearance.
Wow.
CBI confirmed that with me, told me that because I was concerned, and I went to them with that, and I was like, what about Andy? And they told me, well, he was at work. He has a rock solid alibi. And I was like, okay, yes, sir. And, but definitely Jody Sue does not. She's a liar. She's the biggest liar I've ever seen in my life.
And she said out of her own mouth, I think I heard her say she didn't even like kids that much.
I have somebody in the chat wants to know, Don, said, what kind of party did you have before Summer went missing and who was there?
What kind of party?
I've never heard of that yet.
That's kind of that's really a rude question, I mean, because we didn't really have parties or whatever, but
you was partying down on the road. You, Andy, Jody Sue, Candus, all them kids running crazy. Come on. You're fucking liar. That was just the night before she come up missing. You guys went out looking for Dobbs. I bet you 10 to 1, if they'd have found old Mr. Dobbs, we'd have all been sitting here like, oh, that man we knew he was probably did something, right? Right? He would have probably been in jail. They'd have probably found a shoe, a shirt, something of Summer somewhere around the place where he, either around his truck or the room he's staying in. Straight up, I bet you 10 to 1, they'd have found something to incriminate this man. Something would have been there, right? I'm going to tell you what, these guys are, what happened to Summer on June 15th, 2021, in my opinion, they planned it and they carried it out. They planned it to the T and they carried it out. I'm telling you now. And they was looking for an scapegoat. They was going to let an innocent person go down for their pure fucking evilness. That's how evil they are. That's how evil they are, right? Is they felt that they had to implement someone into this and get them put in prison, like they did Dudley, right? Like they did Dudley. Dudley was innocent. Then they tried to jump on Mr. Dobbs. Even though they couldn't find him, they still was trying to jump on this man. Come on. These guys are freaking beyond evil. I mean, if you're going to do some stuff like this, do it and don't implicate anyone else. Can't you just say, hell, I don't have no enemies. I don't know who would do something like this to us, right? I don't know. We don't know nobody that hates us. We don't know nobody that dislikes us like that. Why couldn't you just leave innocent people alone? Damn, you are beyond evil. You're beyond evil when you do something evil and then try to implicate innocent people into it and try to get them put in prison for something they didn't do. Who the hell does that? Who the hell sets people up to take a fall? I mean, ain't it bad enough that you already did the evil that you done? Now you're going to try to put an innocent human in prison on top of it all? That's disgusting. I'm going to tell you something. These are people you don't fucking want to know. You don't want to know them. They're beyond evil, right? They're beyond evil. I'm going to tell you, this sounds like some occult shit to me. This sounds like some occult stuff to me. I've been around some of them weirdos that, in occults and shit. And they act exactly like these mother freakers do. Exactly like them. This is sick.
That's really rude, whoever, and disrespectful for whoever said that. The only kind of parties we had is like I'd go buy fireworks with my kids, and me and the wife might drink a beer. You know what?
Yeah.
If
I was
that's
going to say, if you
illegal,
got
I mean,
invited to a party at Don's house, you better have your hiking boots on to walk up that driveway.
right? But
I
I
mean,
didn't.
that ain't a
I
place
mean,
you're just going to
I
go hang
mean,
out and party. I
But,
mean,
but we would usually hang out with our kids and maybe like fireworks, and we might even light a bonfire for our kids, and we'd sit there and just have a good time with our kids. But as far as a party, I mean, if
Well,
that's what you want to
I
call
think
it,
they
well,
meant
I
it
think
because they just
Dad,
want to know
did
if
you
anybody
know
was there as a
that you
sus,
didn't
like a
know?
friend
Yeah,
party.
that you didn't
no,
know.
we didn't really have friends over there. But people might show up like, you know, there was a few people that might show up begging for money. There's a few people, I won't mention them by name and I won't put them out there like that. But we had a few people that might show up that was
Mhm.
begging for money so that they could go get their pills or whatever they wanted. I
Yeah.
recognized that and I understood that. But
Mhm.
Candace's mother or whatever didn't quite understand that. But I understood that. But usually they might loan them $10 or $20 and they'd go their way. I won't mention them by name, you know, or anything. But as far
Yeah.
as a party, no,
I think it
no.
was pretty much a question just to see if anybody who was up there
more of a
suspicious.
gathering, not really a
Yeah.
party.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
any
The only
oddball out or
gatherings, yeah, we had gatherings with our kids, you know, because we
Yeah.
loved them and we bought I buy fireworks all the time. And like I said, me and Candace ain't perfect. We might have a drink or two or three. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. And but
A drink, a two or three. You mother freakers be blowing the goody good, sucking down whole bottles of liquor at a time, mother freaking using other illegal substances, right? Come on. You ain't no, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait till June, after June the 15th. After June the 15th. I'm holding my peace right now, y'all. But it's, you want to talk about some fireworks? Be here then. Be here then.
that's
Nobody's
just
questioning
pretty much
about
Oh,
that.
Marlena's
Yeah,
daughter's birthday party.
I don't know about that. Yeah, she was up there for a while. You know, Marlena's daughter, but Marlena, I don't, I don't want to say nothing bad about her either. I've already said all I've had to say about her. Journey, you're talking about Journey. Yeah, Marlena's daughter's name is Journey. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, man, well, I've already been through that.
Yeah.
These people go out and steal and sell whatever they steal for drug money to get high.
Molly, that girl, that is hilarious. and, and you're right. I didn't take note, but you're right. That is funny as hell right there. Right? that, oh, shoot. That is. Molly girl, do not get me in left field tonight. We gotta stay on this. We gotta stay on this. I mean, that is hilarious.
I mean, that's what they do. We try to keep them away from our house and stuff, but on the other end of the spectrum, you know, like
I'm trying to keep away from our health. It's the bullshit, Don Wells. Those are the people you try to invite in. The more the merrier. You guys are like super freaky. You've always been super freaky, right? And when I was talking about selling t-shirts, selling T-shirts to get up another reward fund for summer. And if it didn't, if it, they didn't get paid out for summer, then in so many years, it goes to the boys. It goes to the boys to start a life with. And you know what, Don Wells? You said, "Oh, let's sell the T-shirts. Forget the reward fund. Forget the boys. Let's give us the money to go and get a big piece of property in Utah so we can bring all kinds of freaking weirdos like Marlena, her brother, and them around. We're just going to have a big piece of land and everybody live on it like a bunch of freaking, sunflower children." What the hell? Right? This dude's trying to go back to the peace signs, right? What the hell?
Marlena, we tried to help her out, and until we realized that she just wanted money for drugs, and she dumped her daughter off at her house, and it's a sad situation. But about 2 weeks before Summer come on missing, I told Candus, you need to take Journey to her grandparents' house or her cousin's house and get her. We ain't doing this, because Marlena would just dump her off at our house and just leave her there and go out and party or whatever she was doing, and I'm not going to do that. So about 2 weeks before Summer come missing, Candus took Journey to her grandparents' house.
That is a lie. That is a lie. 2 weeks before Summer went missing, Candus takes Journey to the grandparents' house. I told you guys he said this. I told you that he said this about taking, to the grandparents' house, that she was up there leaving the kid and they took it to the grandmother's house. No. And that's why I thought Don was swarming the grandmother's house, because he thought that the child was at the grandmother's home. No. That's why I told Marlena, about him over there swarming, that I heard he was swarming the mother's home because of this right here. The statement he made there. He said the little girl was at the grandmother's house, safe, safe and everything. Candus dropped. No, that's not true. That's not true at all. The little girl was not ever dropped off at the grandmother's house. The little girl was dropped off by Candus at Marlena's place to Marlena and them. And that was on Saturday, after church on Saturday, right before Summer came up missing. Summer came up missing on the 15th. And it was on that Saturday, which would have been the 12th, is when Candus took Marlena's daughter and dropped Marlena's daughter off. Would have been on the 12th. 13th would have been Sunday. 14th would have been Monday when he fired Dudley. And the 15th is when Summer came up missing. So Don Wells is lying. He's put Marlena's daughter 2 weeks back. At 2 weeks back, Don Wells, is when the picture was taken of you crying, saying, "I'm sorry, Summer. I love you, Summer," and knowing that Summer was going to come up missing. And she did on the 15th. Okay? You knew she was going to come up missing very soon. And she did on the 15th. How did you know she was going to come up missing very soon? Because you mother freakers done shaved her head off and started it in motion. You started planning it. How did we know you planned it? Well, we know you planned it because you drove that Subaru on the 14th, fired your coworker to blame it on, drove it on the 15th for the Starlink, the extra protection with your phone while your ass was hiding. That's how the fuck we know. Okay? That is my opinion, and I bet you I'm right. You screwed up. You screwed up. You're not as smart as you thought you was.
And put her in safe hands, and then About a
Sounds like
week and
that's
a
where
half.
she needed to be, maybe right then.
Right. Yeah, because Marlena was just dumping her off at her house and just leaving her. We wouldn't even see Marlena. She didn't. She didn't give a damn. To be honest, Marlena was the type of person. If you was friends with her, she'd come over to your house, and if you wasn't home, she'd steal everything off your porch and
Oh,
everything else.
Oh, and you and Candace were so great, right, Donald? I think you guys were, I'd rather have somebody come over to my house and take everything off my porch than to have somebody come over to my house and trap me at my refrigerator. And God only knows what they might have done to me had not someone been in the house with me that went and got some help. I'd rather have Marlena taking everything off the porch than you and Candace inside the home trying to trap people against the refrigerator so you could take over their house. Okay? Let's talk about you and your old lady. Because Marlena couldn't be half as evil as you all are. Right? There you go. That's my opinion right there. That's my opinion right there. Marlena's daughter's not missing, Don Wells. Yours is. Okay? Your daughter's missing.
And go sell it for drugs and buy drugs and everything else. She was doing it.
Yeah. Go sell it for drugs. Well, you know what? What was you selling, Don Wells? What was you selling? I heard you sold a videotape for $5,000 of your boss doing some awful bad things to your daughter. Okay? And you and Candace was laughing about it. And that came out of your mouth, not PG's. That was straight out of your mouth, Don Wells. Would you like to hear it again? Would you like to hear it? Because I got the recording. Would you like to hear that? What was you selling? Oh, it sounds to me like you were selling what came up missing. Right, Don Wells? That's what it sounds like to me. That's my opinion. Right? There you go. That came out your own mouth, not PG's. But you guys heard him. You heard him say right there that Candace met up with Chad Arnold down at Fred's. That she saw Chad down at Fred's. And he tried to make it like, that Chad was hanging around down there at Fred's house.
Yes, I do.
And so somebody asked me, said,
Yeah,
Ken,
Chad Arnold was
He
married
died.
to. No, he didn't die.
I thought he died.
As you hear Don, no, he didn't die. He know Chad didn't die.
Not that I'm aware of, anyway. But Chad Arnold was at Fred Hill's house when when Candace was looking for Summer. She drove back in the holler to Fred Hill's house, and Chad Arnold was hanging out back there.
You hear that? She drove back in the holler, and Chad Arnold was hanging out back there. No, Don Wells, she did not drive back in the holler and see Chad Arnold. She was back there, and Chad came in and seen her. Okay? She was hanging out back there when Chad came in and met up with her. Why did he come in there and meet up with her? I think Andy said on text message, it's done. And then Candace goes down there, meets up with Chad Arnold, follows him out of Ben Hill Road onto Beach Creek, probably straight over across the road to Morrison Cemetery. Didn't you say that Summer was just down the road, Don Wells? You said that she was just down the road. She was wearing a beautiful dress, and she was just down the road in a beautiful place. Didn't you say that? Put a one in the chat if you all remember Don Wells saying that. You remember Don Wells saying that he had a dream, and Summer was just down the road in a beautiful dress, in a beautiful place. I remember him saying it. Absolutely, I do. Yes, he did. He said it all right. And you know what? It's funny that Candace had all of Summer's clothes in that box, right? Except the pants. She had everything in that damn box. All of Summer's clothes, as if Summer had, been redressed again, possibly in the beautiful dress that he thought's beautiful, and took it over to Morrison Cemetery, and right down the road in a beautiful place, right? And maybe that's why Candace had all of her clothes, because they changed her into something else, right? They changed her into something else, and to lay her to rest over there at Morrison Cemetery. I think that law enforcement really does need to look into that grave. They really need to look into it, and we're going to do everything we can to get that done. We're going to do everything we can to get it done. Now, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. I think they did um, put her over there. And I think it was very possible that Candace wanted to put a dress on her, because that sounds like Candace wanted to put some type of dress on her to be put down in there with. And like she done a good deed after her evil dirty one. And and I tell you something about that. If there's a dress on her, it's probably still there. It's probably still there. They pull that up out of there. And I'm going to tell you something about clothing. Man, clothing rots very slowly. Very, very slowly. Clothing rots. So, probably the dress is still down in there.
I've been to Chad Arnold's house before, and he had all kinds of people hanging out in his shed. Is he?
I've been to Chad Arnold's house before. I bet you have. I bet you have. And what is Chad Arnold's favorite illegal substance? The big M word. The same thing that Fred Hill was supposed to be on and supplying, right? It seems like all those people's favorite thing was the big M word. And this is the people Don Wells was associating with, hanging around with. And I'm going to tell you, birds of a feather flock together, baby. If they were all hooked on the M word, so was he. So was he, right?
What?
Was he like a meth head like Fred Hill?
Yes. Chad Arnold.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Absolutely. He was. Just like old Fred. And in my opinion, like Don Wells as well, right?
Loves his meth. Yes, he does. I went to visit him. Chad Arnold trains horses and stuff. He's really good at that. But he loves his methamphetamines.
That's
Is he a offender or anything? Is he on the registry?
Not that I'm aware of.
Because I did see quite a few around there whenever I looked. I pulled it up,
I went to his wife's house and visited with Chad Arnold a few times for various reasons, trying to get truck parts or whatever. And yeah, he's definitely showed me some big pieces of yeah, he's definitely into that stuff.
Wow. You hear that? I went to his wife's house for various reasons. You were trying to break your chunk off of there. You was trying to break off your chunk, Don Wells. Shut up. Tired of looking at you. Tired of looking at you. But there you go, you guys. There you go. You heard it right out of the horse's mouth. Candus was meeting up with Chad Arnold that day. And what time was it? What time was it when they were meeting up? Let me see. Laura, the day that Summer came up missing, was you at home or was you with Fred?
I was with Fred. We was hauling cars.
You were hauling cars that day, and
Yep.
so Chad was at your property.
He come in while we was going to the crusher, and
And he said,
he seen Candus at the end of the driveway.
and
He
what?
said,
Oh, he came in while we're at the Crushers. He seen Candus at the end of the driveway. Andy's text is done. He saw Candus at the end of the driveway waiting on him to show up so she could follow him out of there over to probably Morrison Cemetery. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep that.
we started up a hill, and she turned around and looked at him and said, "Do you know if they're home?" And he said, "Well, their truck's not there." And said she turned around, walked back down there, and got in her truck. Didn't even knock on the door, nothing.
Wow. Y'all feel like the
Oh, so, and what time was that?
I think he said it was about 3:30 or 4, probably about 4:30, something like that.
4:30.
Are you talking about when Summer called me, or not Summer? Candus called me at 4:30 that afternoon. It was on Facebook, and she had told me that she was in the kitchen cooking them kids something to eat, and Summer was on her swing, and she looked out the window and turned around to the kitchen sink, and Summer was gone.
Boom. There you go. 4:30 down at Fred's house. 4:30 she's calling Marlena. I'm going to tell you. And what time Jody Sue wanted to say that, about the fake scream. Oh, well, she finally moved it to 4:30, right? She finally moved it from 4:47 to 4:42 to 4:30. And there you go. And one thing that you got all these people agreeing on, Summer went missing around 4:30, right? Summer definitely went missing around 4:30. She wasn't supposed to went missing until like 5:55, almost 6 o'clock. And Dawn didn't even get called to 6:09, and she only supposed to be missing 10, 15 minutes, and they've been looking for her. So, around 5:55. But everybody else has her missing at 4:30, right? So I think it's safe to say that around 4:30 is when the second half of what happened at the swimming hole took place, right? And the swimming hole, she got staged up on the milk jugs. In my opinion, she was unalived. And the second half, they come home, they go up on the hill. Candus has the boys come out, see their sister. They, know she got home. Now she can play her freaking mental games on the boys. Where's your sister at? She was here. All this bullshit. And basically gaslight them into believing that their sister was there. They wasn't watching her, and somehow she disappeared. That's what Dawn and Candus do. They gaslight people. And that's exactly what I believe they did to them boys. I believe that they went up there, after the boys took that food in and got busy trying to get something to eat and back to their normal stuff. I believe Candus, that's when her and Grandis took the jacket. They took the shirt. They put some dress on this child. Laid her back up in that back seat. Went down off the hill and down to Fred's to meet up with Chad. And Candus came driving behind Chad and out onto Beach Creek. And that's where Summer ended up disappearing. If you ask me, that's my opinion. Now, Jody Sue, you heard Jody Sue say there was an open grave over across the road at Morrison Cemetery. You heard Andy Menard say, and that's where I believe she is. I'm not scared to say it. That's, and who are the grave diggers around there? Chad Arnold, right? Chad Arnold and the Morlocks, which is Chad Arnold's ex, Marlena's sister is Chad's wife, and Marlena's half sister is related to the Morlocks. She's related to the Morlocks, so Chad's related to the Morlocks through marriage. So these grave diggers all know one another. And it would have been nothing for him to go over there, dig a little deeper, and put this baby in it. Covered it over, and then planned for the next person to go in. Right? It would have been no problem for them to do this. I think that particular gravesite needs to be looked into. And if you took note, Andy's trying to steer you away from that gravesite. Jody Sue's trying to steer everybody away from that gravesite. That gravesite needs to be looked into. Just saying. It definitely needs to be looked into. Marlena's dad passed away too far after Summer came up missing for Summer to have been in that particular grave. I mean, there was 3 people, yes, but the only one that had an open grave at the time was Timothy Morrison. That's in Morrison Cemetery. That's the only one. And that grave needs to be looked into. So Don and Candus, they're lying. They're lying about, everything. They're lying about everything. There was no planting flowers. There was no getting a piece, washing hands. There was no getting no candy. There was none of that. There was none of that. What happened is they went up on that hill. They decided to take this baby's clothes that she had on. They had her bathing suit and everything at Allison's house. They had everything at Allison's house to be washed up that she had on. Right? That's why they went back. They went back to Allison's to retrieve that bathing suit, to retrieve the clothing that Allison had to wash and give back. They freaking took the jacket and the shirt and stuff, and they off of Summer. They took those clothes from that baby and hid them. They hid those clothes. They didn't give them to law enforcement. They wanted to do everything they could to mess up Summer's case because they know they had all to do with it, and that is my opinion. And when they got back, I believe she met up with Chad Arnold. I believe that they came out of Ben Hill Road, went over to that cemetery, and I believe that is exactly where this baby got laid to rest. In someone else's grave. And they feel that she won't ever be found because she's underneath all of, the coffin and everything else. She's underneath it. So, unless law enforcement goes over there and willing to take it all up, or God's willing to let it just wash off the side of the hill, wash off down in the middle of freaking Beach Creek, we're not going to find Summer. That's my opinion. We're not going to find her if law enforcement doesn't do their job or God doesn't step in and wash that hill off into the middle of the road. I truly believe he can. I truly believe that, he will, if need be. We got a lot of people praying for this little girl. And I truly believe, with God, all things are possible. So if we truly want her found, I truly believe she will be. one way or another. I'm going to tell you, I hope they find Summer. I hope that law enforcement does exhume that. I hope they do find her. And the reason I hope so is because if you let evil people get away with stuff like this, how much more will they do? How much more will they believe they can get away with? How many other children are at risk? How many other children are at risk for this same type of evilness to repeat itself? I mean, Don Wells tried to sell his son up in Utah. He tried to sell his son for illegal substances, according to Mary and his ex-wife. In Arkansas, we already talked with, Sassy Cats, which is Lisa J. We already talked with her, who was one of the people at Don Wells' house with the child who was taken away for SAing. When law enforcement came in and busted that place, there was children being hauled out of there because they were being SA'd. And all these parents were on, illegal substances laying around. They had some kind of thing going on over there in Arkansas, running some type of trafficking, some kind of SA trafficking over there for little children. And then they go to, where they go? They go to Tennessee, and it sounds like we got another trafficking thing going on up there in Tennessee as well. Something happened where, Summer had to be, she was disposable. She was disposable to these people. She wasn't disposable to us, but she was disposable to them. And they, to keep them from going to prison, they disposed of this child. As my opinion. My opinion is, they disposed of this child after using and abusing and allowing others to use and abuse that child as well. Don Wells, plainly out of his own mouth, said, my boss called me. He said that I sold a tape for $5,000 of him having, I'm not even going to repeat that disgusting word, with my daughter. Ha, 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 him and Candus both. You know something? Have you ever heard anything so fucking evil in your life as them two laughing on that particular recording? Have you ever in your life heard worse monsters, worse evil people than that right there? Because I haven't ever heard more evil bastards than that. I've heard some evil bastards. I've heard some evil bastards talk about a lot of evil stuff in my life against adults. But I ain't ever heard one talk about an innocent 5-year-old little girl that they used and abused and allowed to be used and abused and destroyed. I ain't ever heard that. That's disgusting. And that came out of Don Wells' mouth, not PG's. So, there you have it. There you have it. These people play games. I'm telling you, they're sick. There's more than one. Don, Candus, and Grandis ain't the only ones connected into this whatever the hell they were doing. there was the Wells, and like Jody Sue said, not just Summer, but other little girls being touched, other little girls being touched as well. Those other little girls was taken the hell away from there because that place was hot. That place was too hot for them to continue doing the shit there. Those other little girls was moved somewhere else while the heat was on Don and Candus Wells. And I think we all know how it is when the heat's on someplace. You stay the hell away from it. You stay way far away from it. You don't run to it. You run from it. That's just the way it is. I believe Summer is underneath the vault and the casket. They put the vault in on top of Summer. They put the casket in on top of the vault. The casket goes down in the vault. They put a lid on it. I mean, she's way down in there, man. That's why Don Wells gets that little grin on his face. That little grin. Like she ain't ever going to be found. He feels so safe. I guess, you feel safe too, right? You feel safe too if you had somebody tucked under somebody else's vault. You'd be like, hell, they ain't ever going to be found there. You feel so safe. Till law enforcement dug it up. And then you wouldn't feel so safe. That's why they don't want law enforcement in that area. They're scared. They're scared that grave may be taken up. They didn't want law enforcement anywhere in there. I mean, if you got something right across the road, down under a vault, I mean, even if it is down under a vault, you're still going to be nervous as fuck if the police are around, right? If the police are anywhere near it, you're going to be nervous. Because in your mind, you think, that they might figure this one out. It's best to keep them the hell away from here. Because you get paranoid. You get paranoid when you do evil shit. You think law enforcement can just read minds. You think these motherfreakers know everything. Like they got some kind of freaking ESP. They know exactly what you're thinking. You get all nervous and shit. That's, and that's exactly how the Wells have been conducting themselves, right? Put a one in the chat. That's exactly the way they've been conducting themselves. They get nervous as hell when law enforcement was all over the place. Like they knew, like they, the law enforcement was going to find it. And that should have let us know that law enforcement's right. She's right there in the area somewhere, buried up, right? Buried up. So law enforcement wasn't as stupid as, as we thought they was. They weren't as stupid as we thought they was. Absolutely not. Wasn't as lazy as we thought they was either, right? They weren't as lazy as we thought they were. Pretty smart if you ask me. Absolutely. Yeah, they get real paranoid. They get super paranoid. I'm going to tell you, man, these people that do evil stuff, they worry about law enforcement all the time. All the time they worry about law enforcement. Oh, man, buckle up. There's a cop. There's a cop. There's Popo. They even get their kids afraid of law enforcement, right? They even get their children afraid of the police. Kids first when they get in a car, they buckle up. We gotta buckle up. We might see law enforcement. Right? They got the kids scared. Evil people, man, they just, they're you you can always tell. You can always tell evil people. You can always tell evil people. Because they always get paranoid. They get paranoid, real paranoid. They think everybody's watching them. They go past Popo and they just know that Popo knows everything that they're doing. Oh, Popo knows that I got some shit in my car. They know it. I gotta drive real careful. Oh shit, there's Popo. Oh, and they keep looking in the mirrors, watching, and it's like, what the fuck, man? You motherfucking ass gonna panic me out. Pull over. I want the fuck out of here. I can't ride with people like you, right? What the hell's your problem? You freaking coward. All evil people are cowards. I'm going to tell you that now. They're cowards because they're always doing shit in the dark. And they're afraid of getting caught in the light, right? Yeah. The ones on top of the ones on top of that fucking police car, right? That's what they're afraid of. Bunch of weirdos. Bunch of weirdos, man. I don't like evil people. I don't like them. God don't like them. Nobody likes them. Nobody likes evil humans. I don't admire evil humans. I don't admire them at all. Matter of fact, they make me sick. They make me want to puke. I can't stand evil people. I like people that know how to tell the truth. I like people that know how to be a true friend, not some fake fuck. I like people that I don't have to worry about doing it with them or worry about them, If you do it with them, they'll do it to you. I don't like to worry about that shit. I don't want to be doing nothing with nobody that is unrighteous. That's just, that's me. That's who I am. I don't think it's exciting running around with crappy ass evil fucking people. Because I know if they could do evil to other people, they could do that evil to me. And I'm smarter than that. I cut the fucking cord. I cut the cord, baby. I don't need that shit around me. You're evil. Trust and believe. You will not see me again. I'm gone. I'm gone. I like people who I can trust. I like people that I can set my food down and they'll watch it for me. Not fucking do something like put laxatives in it. I like people that, I put my purse down and they're not going to be picking it up and going through it. I like people that would make sure that no one else did either. I like people like myself. I like people like me who watch out for other folks and don't do no evil. That's what I like. I like people who, would watch over my child and make sure nothing bad is happening to it if I take my eyes off of it. They'll keep their eyes on it and step in if need be. This world needs more people who give a damn and who are righteous. And they need less of these people who are just evil or just don't care. Don't care. They don't care how evil the world gets. Oh, as long as the evil don't bother me, I'm good. Well, it's going to get you, baby. If you're letting it get everybody else, it's going to have its turn at you. Remember that. Remember that. You're only going to be able to hide for so long because you didn't stand up. I'm going to tell you. You know why? Do you know why? Why people were able to keep their windows open and their doors stowed back years ago, back in history? I tell you why. Because them folks didn't put up with no shit. Them folks watched out for one another, and them folks were righteous folks. They were righteous. And they didn't stand alone. They stood with all the rest of the righteous people. And I'm going to tell you, back then, people loved being righteous. They loved doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. They loved helping one another. They loved being there for one another. They loved being honest, upright, God-fearing human beings. They love living that life where everybody looked out for everyone and everyone kept everyone safe. This world's lost that. This world's lost it. They knew back then that you had to stand strong against evilness or it would overpower you. And by God, they were willing to stand up and they was willing to lose. They were willing to become unlived for righteousness' sake. They were willing to risk everything to keep everyone else safe around them. People today are cowards. They're scared. They hide behind locked windows and doors and they peek out and they're afraid of everything. Well, that's why evil's going to overtake you because you're out standing up and you're not straightening your back and you're not saying, hey, come mess with me. You'll wish you didn't. That's how you put down evilness. You've got to let it know I'll overtake you. You won't overtake me. You better take your evil ass somewhere else. Because it ain't welcomed here. It can only do what you allow it to do. You think evil's stronger than you? It's not. It's not. You think that it's stronger or smarter? It's not. Trust me. That coward is afraid. The coward is afraid. That coward is more scared than you. And I'm going to tell you, you know what it takes to overcome evilness? I'll tell you right now what it takes to overcome evilness is to know what the hell you'll do. Know what you'll do if it comes at you. And by God, do it. You want to know? You want to know who survives when they're attacked? Do you know how? You know how women survive who get attacked? The ones that fight. The ones that fight back are the ones that survive. Women who are not afraid to defend themselves are the ones that end up living. The ones that are scared and succumb to their attacker are the ones who do not make it. If you don't, though, you know, that tells you right there. If you don't put it down, it's going to put you down. So you best know what you're going to do, and you best be ready, because you don't know when, where, why, or how it's going to come at you. But trust me, in this world today, it's going to come at you sometime, and you best be ready. Right? Always be ready. That's number one. Don't ever let your guard down. Because the minute you let your guard down, that's when you get got. How did this child die? Well, in my opinion, mommy and grandma used her knee to go into Kingsport in order to pick up this 15-year-old boy that wants to be a thug that Candus already had groomed for a long time. She had groomed, and she was grooming it that day with some twisted teas and God knows what else. The video went off when he goes into the water, and the next time we see this little girl, she's laying on some milk jugs. So that's how the little girl was unlived, in my opinion. Why was she unlived? Because she was really sick. She was really, really bad off. If they took her to a hospital or a doctor, they'd probably go to prison, because it was probably something that had to do with SAing, in my opinion. And they couldn't take her to a hospital without ending up in prison. Just like when she was, got into some illegal substances, and mommy ran her to the buddy's house and made her write it out. If something would have happened then, well, she would have been hidden away at that time too. The reason mommy didn't take her to hospital is because she didn't want to go to jail. And I think this was another episode of mommy don't want to go to jail. And daddy don't either. So they had to dispose of this child in order to save their asses from prison. That's my opinion. I truly believe that, I'm 150% right. If you agree with me, put a 1 in the chat. That's my opinion, especially after the neighbor that over there said, you go ask him what he was given to them kids, selling to them kids, and what he was selling to Candus to sedate those little girls, not just Summer, but other little girls. And you ask him, because you ask him what it was other than the goody good stuff. Well, that tells me. And then mommy and daddy comes out, says they got a video they sold for $5,000 to someone with the boss having at this little girl. Right? That came out of the parents' mouth. They were both cracking up, laughing. I'm going to tell you, these were people who did not value humans or human life, not even their own blood, their own children. They did not value. They're sick. They're fucking evil. And that is an evilness that cannot be fixed. That evilness cannot be fixed. You want to talk about some sinister bastards? Those are some sinister bastards right there. They got demons in them. They got demons bigger than you'll ever want to know. Let me tell you, that damn Candus almost looks like a demon. If you ask me. If you ask me, she damn near looks like one. She walks like one. She lays around like one. Take a look at her. Take a look at her in the church on the bench. Next time someone asks me, what does a demon look like? I'm just going to pull up a picture of Candus. There it is. If you start to look like that, you know you got one. Right? That's all I can say. And it'll be the truth. That's not my opinion. I think it's the truth. You look in the mother freaking mirror and you start to look like Candus, you better run to church. You better run to the church. That's all I got to say. You better find a preacher. Get that thing up and tell them. You gotta get that out of here. Right? I don't care where it goes. You gotta get it out. That's some scary shit right there. You got that right. Just saying. You know. You start to stand with your feet wide apart. Start wearing some freaking dirty ass hobo looking clothes. Some fucking boots that ain't got no strings in them. I'm gonna tell you, you better get worried. You better get worried. You know. You start getting a fetish for fucking flannel shirts. Big old flannel shirts. Look like they belong to Hobo Joe. You better get worried. Call the preacher, man. Call the preacher. Not to mention, man, you might want to record yourself. You might want to record yourself. You know, you might want to check yourself too with the recording. Because if you start to sing, man, if you start to sing and you sound like this, Benny, oh Benny, I love you, my Benny. If you start to sound like that when you sing, yeah, you probably got a demon. You probably got a demon, you guys. You know. I don't know how big or what kind, but you probably got one. If you be sounding like that. Just saying. Right? Straight up. Straight up. That shit, I'm going to tell you. That mother freaking, I'm going to tell you, that song right there, it haunts me to this day. It haunts me. That bitch often keeps me awake at night. I'm like, oh hell. Like, I'm going to tell you, howling dogs used to not bother me, but now it's like, damn, what is that? Is motherfucking Candus out there somewhere? I gotta get up and look. I gotta get up and look, you guys. I'm like, shit, I don't know. Yeah. Straight up weird, right? Straight up weird. But listen, you guys. PG's gonna get out of here. I'm gonna let you guys get some rest. But I'm gonna tell you what. I ain't gonna leave until I ask you to pray for this baby. That little girl right there on that swing. Please. Keep those prayers going up for Summer Moon, Utah Wells. Keep them all going up. I know God is listening. From our lips to his ears, through his son Jesus Christ, he is listening. Please keep those prayers going up. And I am asking, please. That's a word I don't use very often, but I'm going to use it for Summer. Please keep those prayers going up. I'll say please any day, any time for her. Keep those prayers going up for this baby. She deserves to be found. She deserves to be brought home, and she deserves justice. And her brothers, they deserve to know the truth, and they deserve closure. And so do we. So keep those prayers going up, you guys, in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. God bless. Much love. Good night, everybody.